What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Rebel Studio. Today we're going to be working on the reversible designer bonnet, a little something for the ladies. First things first, you're going to want to take 4 sheets of regular paper and just tape them together. The idea is to make a rectangle in order for you to be able to make your pattern. You're going to want to grab a ruler or a yardstick as well. And so now I'm just taking my yardstick and I'm making a dot on my paper at 14 inches. And then you're going to do the same thing from the corner on the other side of the paper as well. So 14 inches, I took a piece of string. You can use a piece of rope. And you're going to want to trace from dot to dot. And your result is going to leave you with a quarter circle measurement. And we're going to need this in order to cut our fabric for our reversible designer bonnet. So now I'm just writing bonnet on my pattern so that I know what it is. I'll take your piece, you're going to take your scissors and go ahead and cut that piece out. So now I'm just taking my designer fabric and I'm folding it over once. Then I'm going to fold it over again. This is 4-way stretch fabric. This fabric is going to work really well because I wanted my bonnet to be kind of a large. As you can see, I have locks in my hair on this video, so I wanted to make sure that I could wear the bonnet with those locks. So I'm going to take my pattern and place it in that corner after I've made all those folds. And basically both edges will be closed up because you're cutting it on the fold. So boom, there I go. I have one designer circle, and then I took like a satiny fabric and I did the same technique. This is like some extra spare fabric that I had in my studio, and I just kind of found an edge where I could create the 4 corners. And I folded it once, and then I folded it over again. And then all I'm going to do is take my same pattern and lay it on top of the fabric and kind of trace it with my scissors around the curved edge. So now you're going to end up with 2 circles. You've got your designer circle and you've got your silky / satiny material circle. And all I did here was kind of line the circles up, make sure that everything was pretty even. And then I went ahead and grabbed some straight pins and I started to pin around the entire circle. So what I did was I put the right sides together and then I laid my material down because this is reversible. And after we run it through the machine, we're going to flip it right side out. So we're going to pin it inside out. Okay, now I'm at my machine. I've got regular, just everyday straight stitch settings. I want to say, yeah, I just went through the machine with my straight stitches. I took out the pins going through because I've had a lot of accidents where I've broken my needles due to sticking the pins, and I didn't feel like going through that on here, and I didn't want you guys doing it. So yeah, you're gonna go around the bonnet. You're going to leave about a 1/2 inch open. You're not going to close the seam together from where you started at the end. So I'm just going to show you as you get closer and closer there. And I went pretty slow on the machine because I wanted to make sure that the stitch work was really straight. So keep taking it through the machine. It does get a little daunting. It is a little time consuming because this is such a big piece of fabric. So what I did was I found the opening, and instead of closing it up, I left that 1/2 inch open. And as you can see, it's a little hole. So now I'm going to take the fabric through that hole and turn it right side out because remember we sewed it together the opposite way, inside out. Yeah. So now all I'm doing is on a cooler setting, well, on a warm setting, I just flipped it inside out and I started to iron the edges because I wanted my seams to look really straight. I didn't want the fabric jumping around, so I wanted it to really hold together really nicely. So I went around my edges and kind of pressed them down, and my fabric started doing something weird. So I don't know, I don't know what that, I don't know. It was kind of sticking to my iron. I just got done with prom season, so that's why you keep seeing me having difficulty with my iron, because it was probably sticking to the fabric, or I don't know if the fabric was melting. I still couldn't figure that part out. Either way, I got through it. I got my edges together, and you'll just see how the bonnet turns out. Okay, now I'm back at the machine, and remember, we talked about that little hole. It's still open. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start sewing about half to a quarter of an inch away from the edge, because I want to create a small pocket to be able to feed the elastic through. So from the edge to the seam, you can go anywhere from a quarter of an inch to half an inch. And that way that space in between will be our little pocket or our little tunnel that we can feed the elastic through to give it that real like bonnety look. And then that way, you know, the bonnet folds up and it'll fit over your head. So this part wasn't very hard at all, especially since I ironed that fabric. And look, there goes a little hole right there. I'm gonna go ahead and close that hole up and backstitch it. Don't completely close the hole, but where that inner seam is, you can go ahead and close that. So now all I'm doing is taking the elastic and I'm measuring my head, because I don't like my bonnets to be too tight, and I'm wearing the locks, and I wanted to make sure that in case I had on rollers or anything, the bonnet will still have enough room to fit over my head. So now I'm just gonna take the elastic and I'm putting a safety pin through both ends, and all the safety pin does is help you feed the elastic through that little tube that we just created. So now I'm just gonna pull it through all the way through the complete bonnet, and it kind of takes a little maneuvering, but all you have to do is keep stretching the elastic through and pulling and filling it through the fabric. And it really doesn't matter, it just depends on the look that you want to give the bonnet. You can use any type size of elastic. For the little tube that I made, I think that this one was like about like a quarter of an inch wide. So yeah, after measuring it on my head, I just cut it, and then you're gonna put the safety pins and start feeding it through. And it's a little time consuming, it gets a little frustrating, but once you hit that safety pin at the end, you know you can go ahead and take the safety pins off and sew those pieces of elastic together. Or you could tie them in a knot. Honestly, you could really just tie it in a knot, put it back in, but I kind of wanted a cleaner look, so I sewed the piece down because it made the bonnet look a lot flatter. So now I'm back at the machine, and now I'm just sewing those two pieces together, and I kind of clipped it down a little bit more. And so now I'm just gonna do another regular straight stitch and close up that little hole, because we no longer need it. We got our elastic all through. and it just looks better. It looks professional. Every time I wear this bonnet, people ask me where I got it from, and I'm like, I made it myself. So yeah, so now I just, I took it from off the machine and it's basically done. You can kind of adjust where you want the fabric to sit on the elastic a little bit more, but other than that, it's done. Hey mama. And this is me with my locks, and I wanted to show y'all that it fits over my head really good. Look at all of that hair, all of that hair. I wanted to make sure that the cap was large enough to grab all my hair really nicely. And as you can see, it's gonna fit over my head. I'm gonna get all of those locks up in there. And ta-da! I made a perfect little bonnet. Anyway, I love this bonnet. I've washed it like a couple of times in the washing machine, and it's held up. It's reversible, so if I don't want to do the little Fendi inspired look, I just flip it over to that silky side, and it looks really good. It looks really professional. If you're interested in buying one, please DM my business page on Instagram at PR Customs. If you like my page, go ahead and like this video and subscribe. And I'm gonna try to do some more of these little tutorials for you guys. Anyways, I thank you all for viewing this video, and leave me some suggestions down below what y'all want to see next. Peace.